Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Solo Sunday. Welcome to One Hub Racing, and welcome to me commentating on my own. No one could join me, unfortunately, and hopefully we shall find someone eventually that can join me in the next couple of rounds. But we are here in Sunnyside. We're in the old Belgium Grand Prix. The sun is out, the clouds forebodingly not here for once, which is always good. Do like a wet race at Belgium around one of the greatest circuits in the world. But of course, we have many drivers, and I will apologise again, by the way. Solo commentating, not my forte. We'll see what happens. I shall ramble for the next 1,300 hours. But of course, we have constructors. Well, we don't have constructors because there's no constructor standings, but we have driver standings. And it's McCoy who's leading on 49 points. He hasn't won a race this season so far. Which is always good. To be fair, neither is second of Kinley on 47 points. The first person to win a race is Callum. He is on 43 points so far. Of course, he won in round number 2. Reese, of course, won in round 1 and last time out as well, with 2 DNFs slotting in the middle as well. But of course, what is going to be interesting to see is who is going to take pole position today. Now, the answer is it might be Callum. We know he's very quick, and also hello to Colin in the chat, my old buddy, as well. So let's see what Callum can do today. We are getting ready in just a few moments' time for what is the qualification, one-shot quali as well for all of our drivers. And eventually, there we are. It might be a little bit loud. I'm going to turn the game down. That seems very loud. When you're not in a party, the game becomes very loud. Let's just put that down a few clicks. There we go. Hopefully, that's a bit better. We're going to ride on board with Larkin coming up towards El Rouge and at the top of the Rallion. Soft tyres, of course, those lovely red, beautiful tyres. Down the Camel Straight. And you're bringing up a speed of around about 210 miles an hour in some of these cars. There we go, 210 miles an hour. We're on the queue. Down into the comp. Right, left, very easy to get the car over those curbs and have a big mistake. But he gets it all hooked up on the exit. Down into Brussels. Chuck it a little bit on the inside there, Larkin. You could do a little bit better, but he keeps the car going in a straight line as well. Currently down in P12. It's Craig who's currently doing quite well so far on the leaderboard, with Callum jumping up the order as well. We'll just keep on board with this because trying to correct through the field is impossible when you've got one-shot qualifying, so we'll just keep looking at this. Reese and Craig battling up front there. Who's going to take pole position around this circuit? Coming through Piff Paff, and then of course it is into the double right-hander to bring up towards the end of the lap of Stavalo. Checking through there, 160 miles now. Build those revs all the way up in, of course, the Racing Bulls. And then, of course, straight down into the last 2 corners. And first up is Blanchimont, of course. Used to be a lot tighter back in the day before, of course, this new layout, I believe, back in, was 2005 towards 2006. They redeveloped this circuit through the bus stop chicane. And it is going to be Craig on pole position then by 2 and a bit tenths of a second then, so 142.7 and a 142.9 for Callum. So my prediction of him getting pole is a little bit out there. So we have Craig on pole, Callum in second, Reese in third, Axelot in fourth, Rob in fifth, Morgan in sixth, of course the P1 driver I've been told, McCoy in seventh, Nicholas from Lawrence, Kinley, Bonnie, Madge, Larkin, Rich, Jonas, Jason and Kenzie down the back, of course, with that disqualification. Well, I've been told potentially I might have a co-com coming. But I shall see. Quickly, do apologise for this. We're having some slight technical difficulties. Circuit. It is all nice and cloudy for qualifying. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what is going on here. And to be absolutely prepared, I'm going to try and figure my favourite thing. Where is it? the beautiful. Good. Let's see, get that up. And we shall try my best at doing sponsors, something I've never been good at. So, of course, to our sponsors, Delta.app, title sponsors of the league. This is for 18s only, over 18s only. All your investments in one app. Make smart decisions like the world's top investors and track your journey to success with Delta. If you use the command !Delta in the Twitch chat or click the link in the YouTube description, you'll be able to use it to track your investments to Next Level Racing. Sponsors of the league by providing some prizes each season. Sim Racing Setups, they provide a pro setup bundle for the F1 25 created by top esports drivers. They offer dry, intermediate and wet setups. They also two types of setups as well. Pure Sim Gear, so honestly providing a sim racing socks and gloves to the driver for the most fastest laps and poles over the course of the season. You can use the code OHR10P to get 10% off the sim racing socks and gloves. So Vespertine, partner with Vespertine, who supports our official Apriel and also provides some great merch prices. To SimGrid, powered by SimGrid, run our community and platform, and we have 5 red lights on the circuit, so that went off very quickly, and in a few seconds time, because I wasn't expecting it, lights out, and away we go then, here in Belgium. And who's going to be down towards turn number 1? Well, it's the Williams. Down towards turn 1, the Alpine lunging up the inside, into the side of the Haas, and are they all going to get through the exit of turn number 1 correctly? That was Axelot there, coming in a rate of knots, but he's got the car stopped here as we come up El Rouge for the first time, and it's Williams leading the Alpine, but here comes the Alpine, and what's behind us? Anyone doing a slingshot? We've got a couple in the back, we've got one of the cars off, and it's Bonnet out of the race up top of El Rouge, and we have the virtual safety car on the opening lap then, so it looks like that's the top of Radion. So is there any driver down the back with damage? McLaren with the front wing damage, Ferrari as well. So there's trouble there on the opening lap here in Belgium. Only the VSC, of course, so you would presume it had been a safety car for one. We have had an overtake there. Kinley has dropped behind Nicholas on the safety car under the VSC. So I wonder, is there going to be issues? But we are back under racing again. And it is all of a sudden Axelot who's leading this race down the straight, as we've got a lovely graphic. That's the first time I've seen that pop up, to be fair. Gives us 9 to 10. That's when we're going to be switching tyres. I wish that pops up more, game. I wish there was a button to do that. But it is now Axelot who leads this race from Callum. Rob, Craig dropping down 1, 2, 3 positions. He's now down into 4th and under pressure from Reese. On board with the Haslin down the straight, and which way is he going to go? Are we thinking about a move down into Blanchimont? He's going to position the car right around the outside. Brave stop, he goes slightly wide, but he's going to get the car up the inside. This is an awful restart from Craig as he locks up. Has he gone straight on? Yes, he has. I think there was definitely contact with someone. Nearly more contact with the Aston Martin on the exit, the McLaren, my apologies. But Callum leads the way then as we go on to lap 2. Axelot sitting just behind him. Then comes the Aston Martin. Reese there in 4th from Morgan. Craig now dropping down a few positions as well. As we run up the hill then to begin lap number 2. Further down the field, everyone holding station right now. One car has come into the pit, then that being the Red Bull of Madland. So not a good start from him. As into the lead goes Axelot, so he's finally with the slipstream down the Camel straight. Has overtaken and passed the Haas and the Alpine now leading here in Belgium. Further back, Morgan coming up through the field. Then the P1 drivers side by side. A little bit of contact, I think more. Something coming off the front wing of the Williams. So the Williams in war, looking up the inside, potentially down into Puon, but nothing he can do there. Almost pushing, in fact pushing wide, and there's damage there on board with the Haas of Reese. So he's had a coming together of someone around this lap. Lawrence, a 3-second time penalty further down the field. Hello to Mike in the chat as well. As we see then, definitely the front left end plate damage on that car, and that is going to cause all sorts of trouble then with the airflow. And these Formula 1 cars are very sensitive on this game. And immediately you can see, looking at the inside, this will be a very easy manoeuvre of 1. And here comes the Aston Martin to make it 2. Almost thinks about looking up the inside. Oh, very close there. And he didn't quite do that one. Oh! And around goes the Aston Martin. What on earth has happened there? And the rear brake's locked. And there's trouble. And he's gone straight around then. So, and straight into the pit lane comes 2 cars in the background of Rick and Kenzie. Well, what on earth has just happened to the Aston Martin? Looked like brake balance trouble. Or whatever it was. He's gone around in a circle. But meanwhile, from Aston Martin to the other Aston Martin, currently in P3 right now is Craig. Down the straight. And Bonnie's saying that was a quick race. And Bonnie can confirm, if you can, what has occurred there on your screen. I'm going to guess it was an incident at the top of Radion. As we keep a little bit of an eye then. Bit of a mistake there from Craig. And you can just see the car a little bit skittish. I'm talking about being skittish in the background. Trouble there for McCoy. Was it one-shot quality? Yes. Realistic performance always is the one-shot quali. I tell you what, does it look like there's a bit of rain coming down here in Belgium? It only looks like there is a bit of rain. It is starting to rain then here on that 3, here in Belgium. And it may not be raining, of course, in most of the races in terms of the Season 28, but here in the Realistic Performance League, this is now the 2nd time. We have got rain. Of course, it happened in Hungary, right at the end of the race, and here at Belgium, it's happening right at the beginning of the race, on board with Larkin. Looking ahead, you can see, and that around the Sauber. Trying to go around the outside, can't quite do it down there. Try the old cutback, still can't quite do it. Looking at the tyres, whilst we can. One of these buttons will tell me the tyres, and we can see right there. Medium, softer Rob. So he's gone aggressive then, knowing, presumably, that there is rain coming down. In fact, the rain is definitely coming down right now as well. Of course, a lot of hard tyres. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th as we are looking at right now. I think this is an opportunity. Potentially, finally, if he hasn't got DRS for the car ahead, he does. So I don't think any manoeuvres coming down the straight right now. Further back, you can see the other Aston Martin of Nicholas, of course, who had that spin a few moments ago. Can't quite get past the Ferrari up front. It is still Axel. Well, the Ferrari's made a mistake. And, well, I say he can't get past the Ferrari. In fact, he does get past the Ferrari. The Ferrari, again, also with front right end plate damage, as someone just said in the chat. So the Ferrari coming towards with someone. And a little bit more debris. Was that some, definitely looked like an end plate or something coming off someone there. So, has anyone picked up damage running up here? I don't think so. But you can see a gap starting to form right now. And it is Reese who's holding this line so far. You can just see that front wing damage. Because these cars are very difficult to overtake sometimes around this circuit. Belgium, it's a great circuit. Is it the best circuit for overtaking on? And you'd probably argue it's not the easiest. But up front, Axellock still leads the way. Then behind, Rob, as that was just the game having a little bit of thing of cars bottoming out. We're going to think about a move down on list time. Rob coming through the chicane to begin lap number 5. And you can just see now all the cars starting to squiggle around a little bit as the rain starts to come down. Are we going to start seeing any cars coming in the pit lane for intermediate tyres? In comes one car. We've got another car off. And that's Madge who spun the car around as he hit the wall. Looks like he has done. Is that going to be a set of intermediate tyres, I wonder? And Reese does land. Pin on the intermediate. New front wing as well. Yeah, so get back underway in just a few moments' time. Looking at the field, we got another position overtaking here. And here comes the Aston Martin. Right around the outside of the Williams. Those hard tyres possibly now starting to come a little bit more into their operating window, you'd presume. But you can just see a little bit treacherous down there. The circuit's starting to become a little bit wet. A little bit slick. Oh, there's the Aston Martin into the wall. And I say it was getting wet, and well, there proves it. The soft tyres, they might as well be overheating right now on that number 5, but he's certainly in the wars. And he can barely get the traction on down there. And now you start to wonder, are they all going to come in straight in the pit? And I'm wondering, is there a puncture on that car? Because yes, he hit the wall, but he has got no grip whatsoever. And you can just see the entire end plate's gone. Not even the tiny bit, and it's the entire right side. So he'll be coming straight at the pit then, but I think he may just get away with this because of the rain. And the intermediates, and you're now starting to wonder. Coming at it, here is Jason thinking about a move down around towards Blanchimont, but you would hazard a guess right now. All these drivers about to come in the pit lane. First, second, third, fourth. Straight in. And I guess we're about to see all of them dive in. Nope, Kinley stays out. Larkin dives in. In comes McCoy. Thinks about it, your championship leader. And they're all coming in right now. Lawrence in, Robin. What about Rich? We're going to presume him, but has Kinley made an absolute catastrophic mistake then? Rich stays out, but everyone else, as you can see, in for intermediate tyres. The Aston Martin's getting stacked up there in the background, it looks like. As you can see, here is Rich then on the exit. You're just going to see all of these cars coming out alongside them, all on the intermediate tyres. And well, we're on lap number 6 with, some 16 laps, and you can see Callum there. Off the road, Axelock instead going off the road there, and that's going to allow Callum back into the lead there, side by side on the exit. As we look down from the helicopter shot over here in the Ardennes Forest, and Callum now back up to second, but of course it's Kinley, although he is on the slick compound tyres. The rain is falling, however, the DRS not yet has been announced. It is disabled. So it's, keep looking at the gap, it's now come down 1.6 seconds in the last few moments. So those tyres certainly wearing out a little bit. And of course these conditions now, looks to me, they are on the switch over. And what this could be then, Callum looking for another victory this season. One, of course, like I said, in round number 2. But it is McCoy, your championship leader, on 49 points. 47 for Kinley, who is leading this race, but is going to drop down the field. And here he comes then. Gets the car stopped. Almost scrapes the wall on the exit, but he'll get away with it. Make sure you get the car slowed down under the pit lane speed limit, which he does. Of course, we've seen plenty of issues, of course, like that in the P4 tier, of course, Australia last weekend. No one so far having the roars with that today. Even further down the field, you have got Kenzie, who's probably hoping right now for a safety car, and you're giving a little bit of a wiggle on as well as Kinley comes out. Let's see, we've seen Rich coming in the pit lane. No, Rich has stayed out, of course, on those slick tyres. Well, let's just see how easy it is to overtake if you're on the wrong compound tyres. Well, there's your answer, that easy. And I've got a bit of a worry here for Rich. These sides going to be very, but I think to be fair, and like, of course, you would imagine they would lose all gripping to be spinning. I think when you're on the wrong tyres on this game, you just have no grip and just understeer. Jason and Jonas also battling away with Reese, who has just got ahead of Jason just a few seconds ago down in Telecom. But up front, still the battle going on, and a very wayward looking ass right there. But he keeps it on the island. Then Axelock in second. Morgan running in third. Craig in fourth. Larkin now is currently in 5th position as we are coming towards 25% race distance. And the rain heavens opening up then here in Belgium. And while they say the Belgium Grand Prix can often spring up some rain, it well and truly has today. And here is Morgan, your P1 driver, looking at the back of Axelock. Down, of course, you can presume an overtake potentially. Down into Blanchie, down into the bus that pulls to the left-hand side. Yellow flags up the top there as Kenzie's had a mistake. Round the outside, has he got the car done? The onboard doesn't show, but the outboard does. And Morgan now up into second position. Axelock now down to third. And now can Morgan chase after the championship leader, of course. I think this is his first race. And boy, of course, in the chrome McLaren, could be looking very strong indeed. Axelock there, running third. And these Formula 1 cars, of course, a lot more slippier, a lot more, of course, controlled than the older cars. And they certainly are doing a lot better, of course, up El Rouge. Because I remember, back in the day, hitting those curves was an instantaneous spin to the wall and a wee cry back home. But these drivers aren't going to be spinning. There's a little bit of contact, I think, right there. There's Craig having a look at the back of Axelock, and Axelock starting to drop a little bit behind. But Morgan now has got the bit between his teeth. It's closing up to your race leader. As now the spray starting to come down. And are we going to be seeing some wet compound tyres in a few moments' time? There's a possibility, but Morgan all of a sudden is really on the back of Callum, and look at him. I'm going for first, he's probably thinking. And is Callum going to put too much of a fight right against Morgan? Yellow flags. And that looks like it's Kenzie. He's having all sorts of issues in these conditions. And looking at the car, you can definitely see no grip on the rear. And certainly struggle in one McLaren. As here, this second McLaren going for the lead. And there it is then, the lead then here in Belgium. And I don't think Callum's going to put too much of a fight against this at the current time. And you might be wondering, why are you not battling? Well, he will be leading the championship. Morgan, brand new of course here, will be starting on the grand total of 0 points. So Callum right now is thinking probably the long game, because his fellow championship rivals of Kinley and McCoy, currently 7th and 6th position, meaning he will take over the championship lead if things finish as they are. Of course, a realistic performance. The McLaren is going to be quick around here. Especially, of course, without the help of DRS for any of these drivers. And a real gaggle of cars here. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and then down to 13th. As now the spray is completely coming down. And I think probably about a lap or two away from the full wet compound tyres. I believe, as here comes Lawrence on the grass. Has he got the car ahead? Yes, he has. And that could have been an aeroplane crash, but he's got the car going, and you can just see on the onboard how sideways he was, but he's got the job done. And that was a real heart-in-mouth moment there. That could have gone left, that could have gone right, but it certainly kept it on the island. And the Ferrari that's squealing its way through behind the Aston Martin as well, further down the field, and he's not too far away from getting that. But I feel sorry for Kenzie. I'm going to guess here he's got some damage that we can't see, possibly some suspension or floor damage. You can just see how loose the car is. And to be fair, 10 points for drifting. And here comes the lead then, Morgan. Gap now 1.6 seconds, opening the gap length from the Haas as well. And pretty much these drivers will be going towards, I think it's around about lap 15. It will be another stop, of course, on the intermediate tyres. From what memory serves, the Inters do wear quite heavily, but potentially some more heavier wet compound tyres. And I mentioned the McLaren is struggling. Yellow flags at the top of radio. Has he lost the front wing? No, it's not. So definitely struggling. Again, I do apologise for the voice already sounding like it's going. Like I said, doing solo comms is quite difficult. But we shall try and provide the best action that we can for the Risic Performance League. Is looking up the inside there. Craig can't quite do it. Left. Think about the right. And is there a dive potentially? No, thinks better of it, and Axellock has got a superb exit. As we look further down the field, the Ferrari of Lawrence now looking towards the back of the Mercedes. The Mercedes there struggling around in these conditions, but of course these conditions, the great equalizer on the cars. Now these two cars very evenly matched. Ferrari, Mercedes, the Aston Martin a little bit further behind, but holding station as so. Biggest gainer in this race, Jason up 6 positions. Sorry, Larkin up 8 positions at the biggest gain. 6 for Jason, 5 for Morgan. There's only 3 drivers not making positions. Callum, who's second, McCoy and Nicholas have not gained positions in this race. But you can see by the looks of these cars how many of them are right behind McCoy. As here, the McLaren, about to get lapped by the McLaren, and I'm going to ride on board quickly and just see how much struggling has Kenzie got. Do you reckon he has got damage? He's going to pull over and actually get out the way of the teammate McLaren, and we'll probably stick to the inside right now to let all of these cars go through. Doesn't want to have a mistake in front of them, but 3.9 seconds, the gap now up in front. And well, you can say, of course, and Larkin said we're doomed earlier on in chat. 4.1 at opening right now, and truly domination then, of course, the P1 driver of Morgan. And I'm going to have a little look, actually, whilst I can, at where he currently is in terms of the P1 tier. And as I've been told, he was in P1. Where is he? He's somewhere, which I can't see. Is he in P1? I'm pretty certain I got told he was. If someone can confirm that, that will be good, because I'm looking at it and can't see so far. Callum, of course, in P1. And I will say, P1's shaping out to be quite a fun season right now. It is currently being, yes, he is P1. Thank you, Colin, for confirming. And Kevin's doing quite well. 54 points, second, first and first so far that season. So he's certainly got the bit between his teeth. As Callum, of course, who's currently sitting down in 5th place in the McLaren on 30 points. So no slow there as well. And Colin, if you are reading, can you say where he is currently in the standings? Because unless I can't see him, which is a true possibility, unless he is the championship leader and I have got confused as we got car off the road. That's Kenzie. So we're just going through this. Are we going to see any cars dive in for the wet compound tyres soon, I wonder? It's certainly getting heavier. Lap 12 of 22, just over half race distance. 13th. Thank you, Colin, for confirming that one. There he is. As up the inside, here comes Rob, diving up the inside. Gets the car stopped. Yes, he does. Very close on the exit, and almost a bit of contact there. Front right to rear left. But he gets ahead of him then. So, Rob up to 11th. Lawrence in 10th, of course. My commentator I commentated with in P3 last week. Very great commentators, all these guys, by the way. As there you can see the Mercedes still trying to look. Can't quite do it. Pardon me, that. Up front now, 6.5 seconds. I suppose what this is showing right now is the true pace of Lee's. Axel, of course, also in P1. Looking to see where is Craig. What tier is he in? I think he might be in P2. Top 3 then, pulling away as they are. As I take a well-needed little sip of the drink. All these drivers, you can just see how well they are driving. Of course, very little mistakes so far. You've seen some, of course, just as the rain came down. Of course, this circuit, the curbs do get very slippery, and especially if you run right, especially out of these corners here, these gravel traps absolutely bite you. Gap up front, like I say, opening all the time. Everyone has done one stop, apart from the three at the back, of course, who had damage earlier on. Everyone on intermediate compound tyres. And I'm wondering how long these intermediates will last. The answer to that will probably be, I think, about 8 to 9 laps. I do not believe they can go all the distance. I'm looking at the sky here. I'm wondering, is it getting heavier, or is it getting the same, or is it getting lighter? Definitely seems to be brightening up ever so slightly. It's around the outside. Craig, and there's been a contact there with Axel Lock. But I think he's just got the job done. Axel holds the position. But what about the old undercut then? Here we go up the inside, then down into Brussels. Late braking then on board with the Williams. Sliding the front. Can he get the car in? Yes, he can. But still the inside line presents itself to the Alpine. And still can't quite do it there. And the Alpine there of Axel Lock there, holding his line brilliantly there. And it looks to me as the circuit now is indeed drying out. So is there going to be a potential switch in around about 3 to 4 laps time for probably the medium compound tyres, possibly hard for some drivers? How quick does it dry? That is the answer. But you can just see visibly on board then the rain, only ever so slightly spitting now. And in fact, I believe it has just stopped. So the rain is stopped, and now I think it's probably, I'm going to guess it's probably, 3 laps? And then we'll see some potential cars on to the medium compound tyres. And in comes Callum. Now, is this for a set of mediums, I'm wondering then? It wouldn't be for a set of intermediate tyres. In comes Craig as well. And what are you going to see? I'm going to guess mediums, possibly hards. Medium set of compound tyres then for Callum. In comes for a set of medium compound tyres for the Williams as well. And all of a sudden everyone comes in. In comes Kinley, Larkin, McCoy, Lawrence, Jason, all in the pit lane. You can just see how squiggly they are on the exit of the pit lane, though. And it might not be fully conditioned here. There's a long way to go yet, and there's trouble here off the road there. Nicholas is going to get an overtake. He's going to have to get the position back. But here, all of a sudden, slotting through the middle, and he got the job done. There is Reese, straight through the middle of all of them. And the tyres aren't ready. These tyres aren't ready. Look at them. They're all squiggling around. There's no grip on the dry compound tyres on this lap. And round the outside, there goes Robin. That is a mistake, a critical mistake for all these drivers, possibly on these tyres. And look, half of the field on the mediums. And look, the two Hasses coming together now. And it's Callum dropping down 1, dropping down 2. And crucially, Kinley also on the mediums. But you can just see, look at them. No power, no traction. Up the inside, there goes Rob. And now all of these drivers status quoing. And there is a long way to go. 7 laps. In comes Morgan, your race leader. Mad 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. In comes second. Presumably Reese is going to come in as well. And have they just timed this to perfection then? You will say, I think Callum will get away with this. Albeit these tyres aren't at the best. I'm going to guess all these cars are about to dive in. So it might have been a lap too early. And you can see what's the gap going to be. And you can just see how little traction he's got. None on the rear whatsoever. Well, I think as long as he keeps it on the island, 7 laps to go. Hard compound tyres for Morgan up front. Axelock in second. And Callum struggling on the rear. And in these tricky conditions, You want to be very, very careful, especially coming up the hill. Reese with a 3-second time penalty as out comes the of Nicholas. And the first target for all these drivers is going to be the hill of El Rouge and Radion on these tyres, especially because they get very loose, just like that. And a prime example of how loose it is, and you can see DRS not currently enabled. So it is still deemed too wet for the DRS to be open, or to be these drivers are all on the slicks. Circuit still designated wet. And off the road, and there is Reese. Now I'm wondering here, has he been helped? Or has he spun the rear? Well, looking at the front left, definitely seems that he has hit the wall of some description. And you can just see there is absolutely no grip on those hards. And he's going to pull out of the way. Yellow flags, of course, for him. And you can just see no traction, absolutely anything. He's trying to warm those tyres. I mean, probably frustrated. Jason has a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limit. Battle here going on for 7th, 8th, downwards. We are beginning lap 16, race leader. Morgan dropping a little bit of time right now. It was capped 13 seconds, now down to 11. I'm going to guess as well, those hard compound tyres have not quite warmed up to their most optimal temperature. Big lock up there. You can just see how hard it is for these drivers. And good credit for them for coming in when I presume it was still too wet for those tyres right now. As in the spirit of struggling on the exit. You can see both of them there. Rob and McCoy. And here is McCoy then. And it's going to have a real stab at it then. And will presumably blast past. Down into Lecom. Up the hill he goes. Hasn't quite got it. DRS still not yet enabled. Is in and out of the race. He's raced, of course, made that mistake earlier on. And nothing he can do. Kinley, 3-second time penalty. Morgan from Axel Lock. Still Callum in 3rd. Craig in 4th. Like I say, as things still currently stand, the championship leader will be Callum. Still yet to win a race, of course, in realistic performance. But of course, like you say, it's consistency which is key. And consistent he certainly is right now. Over down the field, you can still have this battle going on here as the field ever so slightly spreading out as we come towards the end of this race. And what has been an absolutely brilliant race, nonetheless, dry to wet to dry again. And I'm going to have a little look, of course, for where we will be, of course, in a few days' time for the season 28. It is at Silverstone, of course, for all of our drivers. And, of course, that's round number 4. Of course, then coming on, it is Hungary, Japan, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, China, Miami, rounding it off at Abu Dhabi in a month's, just over 2 months' time. You can just see, look at the traction, you can just see still DRS, surprisingly to me, has not been enabled. Switching down a gear at the top of Radion as well, you can just see these drivers having to take it a little bit more cautiously, and it's like old pre-2010 overtakes, and, well, if they could do that easily in real life, I'll tell you what, Louis sticking it right round the outside, contact! And round goes Kinley. And you could almost say it was a day late and $1 short right there. Try to hold it around the outside, and I don't think Lawrence really saw he was going to go round the outside. Contact was made, and Kinley sent spinning down the field, which does mean that promotes Mackay up a position, and that'll help him in his championship hunt as well. lot of penalties coming on right now. Let's look at the penalty situation. 3-3, 3-6, 3 and 3-3. So far, so only Jason with a 6-second time penalty so far. Everyone on mediums and hards. No one, of course, on the soft compound tyre. Biggest gainer in this race still Larkin, up 8 positions from earlier. And everyone apart from now 2 is Kinley, who, to be fair, holding his station right now, 46 seconds off the race lead, as we're looking at Jonas and Jason so far with the Williams and the Mercedes driver. Will be still nothing quite yet. Are we going to see the DRS anytime soon? Yes, there we are. DRS now enabled then here in Belgium. Now I'm wondering, as this gaggle of cars here, which we were talking about earlier on, are they going to be starting to battle? I don't think quite so yet. I think battle potentially going on between Callum and Craig still. So these two still battling, but the gap up front now open to still around about 11 seconds. Axelot currently in second, Callum in third, Craig in fourth, Larkin in fifth, Nicholas, Lawrence and Rob to round off the top 10. It's McCoy and Kinley in the 2 Saubers. Of course, 15 runners in this race. Race, of course, you DNF'd earlier on, and Bonnie, who had a crash on lap number 1. As we're just having a look, see where is the battles currently on the circuit. Well, I think right now it's really Rob and Lawrence who's battling together, and you can see the Aston Martin right up the chuff there of Lawrence, looking one, looking left, looking right again. First opportunity here is going to be down in towards Blanchimont, and he gets a good exit then. He's going to go side by side, and we'll get ahead then of the Ferrari. Lap 19, and there you can see the Aston Martin now ahead of the Ferrari driver. Morgan picks up a 3-second time penalty. I mean, well, up front, well, is that going to do anything to his race? Unless we get some very late drama. I don't think so. Axelot currently just about 12 seconds under. Well, now just 12 seconds over. Hovering around about there. And I'm wondering here, looking at that, I think Morgan probably has gone off down out of Lacombe. So he's gone wide there. That's where he's got that time limit pattern, because you can just see the gap there suddenly shooting down. As you can see right there. So a mistake somewhere around there. And Axelot, talking of 3-second time penalties and mistakes, gets one just as I say his name. So there we are. Callum, third. Craig, fourth. Larkin, still fifth, holding his station ahead of Nicholas right now. And then that gaggle of cars like we saw earlier. And I think Rob has actually got ahead of Lawrence finally then, because yes, he did down into Blanchimont. Lawrence hasn't got the bit to come back so far. Jason gets another time penalty further down the field. So that'll be, I think, 9 seconds he's on now. Yes, it is. And it's very easy, of course, when you start picking up one to pick up another and another. And then it starts snowballing. Now, 20 of 22 then. With 2 laps to go. Counting, of course, this one. Craig still behind Callum. And, well, the opportunity is going to come to itself in a few moments' time, I reckon. You can just see the exit load the Haas gets out of the source. 4 tenths the gap. It should be around about 4 tenths where you can make the overtake. So, it should be very, very safe down here. Let's see. Are we going to see any ERS burning? Here we are then. And which way is he going to go? We'll go to the inside. Bit between his teeth. Has he got the car enough up the inside? No, not quite so. Still can't quite do it. So, he needs to come out of that corner with about 3 tenths. What he's doing right now, it seems, is saving the ERS. And we'll go for an attack on that 21 or 22. And both of these drivers now saving the ERS indeed. But like I say, Morgan up front, domination in this race. He's led it, of course, from pretty much around about quarter distance and has held it, apart from one mistake a few moments ago. Getting that 3-second time penalty. He's looked brilliant. I was about to say, I thought that was Morgan spinning then. But it's his teammate who spun just at that same moment. And I will say, off! Is that a car or is that in the pit lane? I think that's a pit lane retirement for Rich. So whatever has happened to Rich, he's out of the race. And I will say for Kenzie, will be whatever struggles he's got with the car. It definitely looks like floor or rear wing damage. He is soldiering on with what is going to be the penultimate lap of this race. Callum and Craig, meanwhile, still holding station, still together. And this is the closest, I think, Craig's been all afternoon then, as he comes up the top of the hill. And if there's an opportunity, now's going to be the chance to do it with the DRS and immediately to the inside. And is he going to battle it too hard? No, not quite so yet. So a little bit of DRS play, and it's all going to come down to now is, can Callum stick within around about 2 to 3 attempts down the last couple of corners when we get to it to come back through. As Nicholas and Larkin, oh hello Larkin, and Larkin very sideways right there. Now I'm wondering if that was Nicholas colliding with Larkin or Larkin colliding with Nicholas. Well, they collided with each other definitely. And there was problems. And big problems there for Larkin, but he has kept the car going in a straight line. Does have, of course, the Aston Martin bearing down straight on him. So one Aston Martin has a bit of contact with the racing balls and the other Aston Martin ready to pounce. Last lap then here in Belgium at 22 of 22. And Morgan has done absolutely everything right so far. Callum and Craig, second, third and fourth, and this really right now is quite critical to see how close can you get. Can you have a look down Lacombe, down the Camel Straight, and these two are going to be boosting all they can right now. ERS enabled on 1, ERS enabled on 2. Up we come then, gap 5 attempts. It's going to be difficult. Kenji with a 3-second time penalty. Is there anything he can do then? Down the straight. I don't think so, unless there's a almighty lunge here. And I think that is one and only chance. And Callum then looks like, of course, unless there's a mistake, unless later in the lap, we can see a manoeuvre. ERS harvesting there, and he's right up the chuff right now. Almost pushing the Williams through. And what play there from the Williams driver to know exactly when to use it. And you can see how much of ERS he's still got. Saved it right there as Callum sideways through Pouon. And he somehow kept that going on the island. Oh, a big mistake, but he's kept it going. Meanwhile, race leader Morgan comes through. The last 2 corners, a big lock up there. He's done it on his debut. Then Morgan in the McLaren comes to the line or a win here in Belgium. Axel Auckland will come through the last corner to finish a well-earned second position then. And then it will be Craig in third. Axel crosses the line, and there he is, second. Here comes Craig out the last corner. Third for him, he knows he's done it. Fourth for Callum, a fair old battle between these two. As Len behind, here is the Aston Martin squabbling away down to the last corner. And which is it going to be? The 2 Aston Martins. Nicholas almost literally, well, he's inside. I think he's disconnected, has he? He's disconnected. Oh no. Nicholas, he got the penalty as well. Dropped right down the field. I think he disconnected there. Or did he run out of fuel potentially? I will not know as everyone has crossed the line. I believe. Oh, it's just waiting for Madge in the Red Bull. But Morgan then. A fine victory then here in Belgium. Axelock in second. Craig in third. Callum from Rob. Larkin, McCoy, Nicholas, Lawrence, Kinley, Jonas, Jason, Kenzie in 14th. Madge was waiting in 13th. 3 retirements in this race. Rich, Reese and Bonnie. Through the last corner comes the Red Bull. Up to the line to finish the Belgium Grand Prix. And what a debut then for Morgan. And that's going to be one that he will be most certainly very, very happy indeed. And I just heard, by the way, that Reese had issues with the brake pedal and had to brake with the clutch pedal then. So a pedal input issue potentially for him. So having to only brake with the clutch, that certainly will have been the reason for the DNF on that one. As hopefully... Uh-oh. Oh, well, okay. Well, never mind. We won't see what the grid order is. Because the game's... It's done it again. It's done it again. I love when the game does this. One day, it will work and it will show us that. So, sorry, Cam, we're not going to be showing you the rundown of the grid because it's broken again. I don't know if that's an issue on my end or it's an issue on the game. But nonetheless... That is that one. So, before we round off the stream, because my voice is disintegrating very quickly, we'll go through our sponsors. And to the sponsors of the league, Delta.app, title sponsor of the league. This is for over 18s only. All your investments in one app. Make smarter decisions like the world's top investors and track your journey to success with Delta. If you use the command !Delta in the Twitch chat, or click the link in the YouTube description, you'll be able to use it to track your investments. To Next Level Racing Sponsor League, providing prizes each season. To Sim Racing Setup, they provide a Pro Setup bundle for F1 25 created by top esports drivers. They offer dry, intermediate and wet setups. There's also 2 types of setups, safe and esports. They provide strategy tips and track map on when to use ERS during qualifying. They sponsor league, providing vouchers for the weekly Drive of the Day winners as well, and you can also use for one hub for 5% off with their setups. The Pure Sim Gear sponsor league, providing sim racing socks and gloves. The driver with the most fastest laps and poles over the course of the season can use code OHR10P, that's OHR10P to get 10% off their sim racing socks and gloves. Vespertine's partner Vespertine supports our official Aprio and provides some great merch prices, and SimGrid, powered by SimGrid, runs our seasons through their community platform. But for a man whose voice is currently under the ground and who is enjoying the F1 music blasting from his ears at deafening loudness all of a sudden, I shall round off here in Belgium. Join us next week, and hopefully I maybe will have a co-con with me. That's always a fine thing. But from me, Mr. Evil Dragon, until next time, take care and good night.